Hello?
Hello?
Oh my god, where have you been? I have to tell you something.
Girl, bring it. I'm ready.
Welcome to the Call Me Later podcast, where we will cover the personal, the popular, and the peculiar. I'm Loretta Rolonge.
And I'm Annie Steinberg. And you've now been dialed into our weekly call about relationships and dating,
pop culture and lifestyle,
and friendship and community in the city of Medellin.
No, you need to call me later. Hello? No, pero llámame ya. Hey, call me later.
On this episode, we'll be covering friendship breakups, life of a CEO, and parasocial relationships.
I have had a few friendship breakups in my life, and one of the things that people have always told me is that in a lot of ways a friendship breakup is actually harder than a romantic breakup.
Totally.
Now, I don't know if I believe that, because my last breakup, it ripped through the fabric of my identity, my romantic one. So
correct. Okay, fair.
I don't know if I would put that on the same level, but I have had a couple of friendship breakups across the course of my life. Probably one of the most challenging ones was one that happened a few years ago where, listen, I have a big personality, I have an overwhelming personality, and I fight these extroverted allegations, as I have told you and the world.
You have mentioned that before, and I beg to differ, but whatever. Let's say you're a closeted introvert, but
yeah.
Sure.
So this friend of mine essentially just came almost out of nowhere from my perspective, and she sort of just said, hey, I think the last 2 years of our friendship, last 2 years of an 8-year friendship, I think it's basically been all about you.
Oh, fuck.
It was savage, like knife to my heart, savage. And parts of it I didn't believe about what she had said. She was like, yeah, you never ask about me. And all I could think was, bitch, why do I need to ask you? You could just tell me. You don't ask me and I tell you, but I digress.
Right,
I'm on a journey, right? I'm still trying to heal. But when I tell you, all those things that you go through when your friendship breaks down, you're having to tell your mutual friends, okay, not friends. All of a sudden people are asking you about them. You know, you're making the rough decision of, am I blocking you on social media? Then you go through the feelings of, maybe we're just not going to be friends right now. And a lot of these do basically equate to a breakup in a romantic sense. But I don't know. I don't know about you, Annie, but in the back of my mind, a part of me is always hopeful that this is my last romantic relationship. But a part of me, a small part of me, a little atom in my body goes, listen, this could end. Right. It allows me to make sensible decisions, don't be out here giving a man money, don't be out here supporting a man's dream, don't be out there doing none of that. But in a friendship, when I have friendships, I don't ever no fiber of my being sits and says,
this could end.
This will be exactly. And I don't know if you feel like that.
That's so right. I'd never put it into words, but I think that's totally right. In a relationship, in a romantic relationship, a very real part of it is the concept of the possibility of breaking up at some point. So it's kind of always, even in the great times, in the bad times, obviously it's in the forefront, but it's always something that could happen. And we hear about breakups, we hear about divorces, we hear about all these things. So we know it's very much a part of a timeline, or either till death do us part, right? However, with friendships, I don't think we're so accustomed to the idea of a breakup will also come from this, and I think maybe the surprise factor there is also what's devastating. I wonder if the fact that I think also I have a couple of thoughts on this. There's one aspect which is the surprise, and when you have these friendships, especially deep friendships, obviously some people are passing friends, you're oh, I'll never see this person again. But with those deep friendships that you have, you never see yourself not having them in your life anymore. You don't see them, not standing by your side on your wedding day as one of your, maids of honor or whatever. So there's that surprise. Another aspect of it, I would say, is the social lack of empathy. Maybe I don't even know how to word this, where it differentiates from a romantic breakup and a friend breakup. So if you break up with your boyfriend, everybody's gonna be oh my god, girl, I'm so sorry, what can I do for you?
You're right.
If you go through a divorce, are you fucking kidding me? Obviously everybody knows what you're going through. If you have a fight with a friend, or if you lose a friend, people are just kind of oh, well, yeah, they fell off, they're no longer friends. But I don't think they understand that the same ruminating can go into it, the same heartbreak can go into it, it's very destabilizing, which friends are you losing to the divorce? You know, who's taking whose side? What about my routine? You know, what do I get to keep in my life? What don't I get to keep in my life anymore? Can I go to these places? Can I not? And I don't think that the people that surround you maybe are as empathetic and as supportive when you lose a friend as when you lose a partner.
I think that's the thing that's difficult about those sort of friendship breakups. It's some people don't really get it. Like, you're sat and you're crying. I just finished rewatching Girlfriends with Tracy Ellis Ross for probably like the 5th time or whatever. And there's a bit, spoiler, where Joan is no longer friends with, where Joan is no longer friends with, I can't even remember her name, with Tony after 24 years of friendship. So you need to think the longest relationship that Joan has ever had, other than the relationship she has with herself, is now over. And it was over it was a couple of bad decisions made on Joan's part. And she, on the whole series, you've never seen her cry that much over a guy ever. And I feel like a lot of people perhaps don't understand that. A lot of people are sort of just like, oh, well, friends come and go. Keep it rolling, sis. You know, plenty more friends in the sea. And you're like, no. And I'll say that the friendship breakup that I had a couple of years ago, and this is no shade to my current set of friends, previous, existing, and in the future, but none of my friendships, like, this is going to sound like such a shade, but none of my friendships have been as, I don't want to use the word meaningful because that's not the right word I want to use. That's the wrong verb. Maybe like they just haven't been, I don't know. They just haven't been that friendship. Like, this was a friendship where it was like I spoke to them every single day. And listen, a criticism I was given, they were like, listen, Loretta, you selfish as fuck. I was like, oh, okay. And there were things I learned from this friendship breakup as well. They gave me criticism of like, you never ask about my job. And now I'm like to people, okay, if you need to be asked, hey, how are you? How is your job? And I don't mean that from like some bullshit kind of way of like, I don't care.
Just
I
being
really care.
Intentional about
Of
like,
course.
maybe people do need to be asked.
And but also I think as a friend, you need to decide what kind of things that you need. And one of my friends had actually said that sometimes you can have soulmates that are your friends, and the people, also Charlotte said this on Sex and the City, but you can have friends who are your soulmates, and that is something that's really important, and they fill elements of your life in ways that a romantic relationship won't. And I think friendship should be a huge pillar in your life, and it's completely understandable that once a pillar has broken down, you know, parts of your life will start to feel unstable.
You're limping around like it's not quite the same. I had a devastating friend breakup many years ago, and I remember when I lost this friend, I lost her and I lost her family, which was kind of like a double whammy, especially, you know, like living in a different country, not having my own family around. She was a very, very special person to me. She felt like a sister. Her mom was like a proxy mom, you know, like her brother I really cared about. She had, you know, daughters that I adored. And so in the loss of that friendship, it was losing an entire family unit. And I remember for Thanksgiving, my dad was actually visiting and I was invited to their Thanksgiving, but of course I didn't go because of like everything that happened. And I just cried my eyes out. And my dad was like, what the fuck is going on here? He was just like, why do you care so much about these people? He was like, I get how important they were to you, but like to cry about it. And I was just like, yeah, this was my life. You know, there was like an additional layer. This whole breakup happened because of work, which was like, she betrayed me at work terribly and most painfully, quite Judas, to the point where I still couldn't believe she had done it. I wrote her a letter being like, this is what I understand happened. What do you because I was just like, are we miscommunicating? Like, is this real? Did this actually happen? It had happened. And she basically said that she had to protect her bottom line and like save her ass. And so she threw me under the bus.
The bottom line is crazy. The bottom line is a crazy thing to say.
And she told me that things in Canada weren't like in Colombia and that we had to keep like friendship and family separate from work and that we could still be family outside but not in the office. It was brutal, the stuff that this woman said about me to other people. It's insane. Anyway, so I still tried for some reason to like, you know, recoup the friendship and talk about it. There was like no saving it, but I was like very blind at the time, I think, where I was just like still trying to keep, again, that whole family unit. And then this is a way longer story, but there's this girl, I would love to tell this story one day. There's this girl that wanted my life. to the point that
No.
yes, she would like comment on my pictures like, oh my God, I want your life. But it was just like, it always rubbed me the wrong way. Loretta, like I was always just like,
Because
this
it's
is not
gross.
just a comment. This is not just a comment. Like you're, ugh. So she ended up going to that Thanksgiving and I didn't. And I was
she won.
devastated. She won completely. She also tried to go after my ex, but she didn't win that one.
Oh, no.
But then those breakups, and they hurt for years, and you ran into them, you know, a year later or whatever, and it's still uncomfortable. And it's still crazy. This person that you shared so much with, so much intimacy with, because we do have intimacy with our friends. You know, we tell them everything.
Of course.
Even aspects that with our partners, we, you know, sometimes we don't want to like seem like the crazy one, or we don't want to tell them everything all at once. We tell so many things to our friends, and then all of a sudden it's like this person that's walking around with like your entire life in their pocket, but they just have nothing to do with you anymore. And it's really, really devastating. Friendship breakups need to be like studied more and respected more, if you will, because it will wreck you. But honestly, speaking of another reason to break up with your friends, if your friends follow Life of a CEO, I think you have to end it. That is my decision of the year. I have to creep what people are following. Life of a CEO, holy fucking shit.
No.
Are you up to date a little bit with what's going on?
My problem with Stephen Bartlett is that he's giving... I'm going to make some enemies. This podcast blows up, I'm going to make some enemies. He's giving son of a bitch vibes. I'm sorry. I said it. I have to speak my truth. Because I know that he started off as someone who was like, listen, let's come together, build a community, and create a space where we can, as much as possibly, ethically obtain wealth, right?
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know
I'm
that was
all
like
for that. That's how that was the grassroots, you know, those were the seedlings, right? That's how he started off, and that's how I think he was able to gain so many followers. He's also, you know, he's a pretty good host. You know, he has a nice voice to listen to, because I'm sorry, another pet peeve I have, I'm just going to take a quick segue, is people who record things and their voice is not nice. And you know who you are.
Loretta, is that me? Fuck!
Oh my God, imagine.
I hate hearing my voice. Oh my God.
No, I love the sound of my own voice. This is why I got problems. Why I've got friendship breakups. But
I'm gonna just go silently cry in the corner, but keep speaking.
And my issue with Stephen Bartlett is just that he started off with these sort of like, you know, big intentions and really trying to move forward. And, you know, he's got this nice voice and he's nice to look at, because that does factor in. Listen, pretty privilege is a thing.
No, it sure does.
Of course. And now he's moved on to doing these kind of more sus, you know, interviews. And this isn't the one that's just come out very recently about how, I believe the words that I'm going to paraphrase, but basically he did say this, was a certain percentage of men from 18 to, I don't know, 45 are not going to be able to pass on their genes. And I think that it would then be very easy for some of these men to become resentful and then start to look for hateful propaganda, you know, on the interwebs. And he kind of just alluded,
like radicalized,
you know, Andrew Tate, who we hate, and they're going to go and maybe become really hateful people. And he kind of just said it in a sense of like, so what are we going to do as society to help fix things for these men? And before I shit on this podcast even further, this isn't the first sus thing he has said. Like a couple of episodes ago, probably months ago, probably years ago, he had someone up who was like, yeah, you shouldn't eat this thing because it's probably going to kill you. He's like having these people on and who don't have any sort of like medical license, and he's bringing them
like
on
pseudoscience,
right?
Vibes.
And you're bringing them on because, you know, you got your ass open for money, sure, and you're just spreading all of this misinformation. I know that he has had to start putting disclaimers like, listen, do not take this as advice, but why are you having them on? You know? And it stems all the way from that, but then right through to like, why is it my problem to fix a man? Why?
Okay, my opinion on the Life of a CEO is based entirely on vibes and zero facts. I have no research.
Yeah, neither of us did any research.
I have no research. Listen, if you want an investigative podcast, this ain't it. This is just two gals on the phone being like, sus, weird. I think last time I said Nicola Peltz or whatever her name is, just looks like everything smells bad around her when she makes that face. I don't research, none, zero. However, information that gives me opinion. Number one, my ex really liked this podcast, so therefore, red flag. Number two, I feel like you do have some sort of responsibility. Loretta, may God fucking bless us so that we have an audience of millions and we're making gazillions of dollars, please. But when it happens, not if it happens, but when it happens, we have to be responsible with the people if we end up choosing to bring anybody onto this, you know, platform, or even like for the statements that we're saying. You do have an audience and you're giving a platform to people that are fucking insane. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
No, you're right.
Are there interesting people that go on there? For sure. Is there good advice on it? Absolutely. I'm not saying the whole thing is a shit show. Obviously, for some reason, it's like become this popular. But I just feel that the style of it is very kind of like chewed down sound bites for like lonely men or men that like really can't figure out their thing and they're trying to be a CEO of their lives or whatever, you know? And then on top of that, we're talking about like all of these lonely men and how we're gonna fix it for them. And I didn't, again, no research. I would never play that episode, but like I doubt sincerely from like the drama I've heard around it that the solution was, what pat leave are we offering? What mat leave are we offering? What are the benefits for people that become mothers, right? I would assume. How are we making men more appealing to women versus how are we fixing this for them? Like, if women are choosing not to get married, not to reproduce at a time where there's like a freedom not to do it, you know, because of like social constraints and legal constraints, honestly, well, then if you're not being picked, it's for a reason.
I think, and it's something that Stephen Bartlett did actually say on the podcast, he said, some people will say this is a part of evolution. Because I feel like evolution is not just strong man, fire, wood, muscle, right? Otherwise...
But also delicious.
You know, if that was the case, I'd be with Channing Tatum and he'd be picking me up and throwing me around the bedroom like a sack of rice. But he's not, right?
But no, correct.
But I think evolution also comes into part of like, who are you emotionally? Like, I don't want to be with a man who can't process his emotions. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be with someone who I ask you to hold my purse. Listen, I had a friend once. He wasn't a friend. He was a friend of a friend and we tried to do a thing, right?
Okay.
But in the friend stage, I said, can you hold my bag, like my purse? He's like, nah, put it on the floor. And I'll keep a hold of it. If we need to, we were in a queue. He was like, if we need to move up in the queue, I'll kick it with my foot. I'm not going to be seen holding that. I said, no.
Also, it's bad luck. It's bad luck.
No.
Is it bad luck for you guys as well, or no?
Yeah,
we don't put bags on the floor.
You know, you could, no, right?
No.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to be with someone like that. I don't want to be with someone who are like, oh my God, why are you like this? Or, oh my God. Like a man who's pathetic. And this is my problem. Like, and I try not to, because when you call a man pathetic or when you call a man a loser, he's never going to talk to you again in his life. Like, you are not coming back from that. You're going to beg for his forgiveness forever. But I just I would want to be with someone. I would rather not have children and I'd rather be by myself than be with a piece of shit. And I feel like sometimes some people do not understand that. Sometimes you just have to pick yourself, unless you're going to be with a guy who shows you how. Like, you hear these, Annie, when I tell you about, I follow this Facebook account and people with children write in, mostly mothers, and they kind of talk about their regrets of having children. Annie, some of these stories are heartbreaking and literally all of them are about the fact that my husband's a shit who didn't. Literally all of them. All of them are like, one woman, bless her heart, she was like, my husband basically told me, if you do not have a child, I'm going to leave. And she was like, I didn't really want kids. And he sort of knew this. He knew this before we got married. He said it was fine. And then we got married. He was like, if you don't give me children, I'm going to leave you. So she went and she had a baby. Annie, this man showed her pure hell. He showed her pure hell. I'm talking, she struggled with postpartum. She struggled as anyone would struggle, and he would come home from work and she would be in her pajamas, she'd be crying, the baby'd be crying, and then he would come, her husband would say to her, why is it that so many other women in the world can do this and you just can't seem to be able to? That would be the last day, all three of us would be dead. All three of us, the baby too. We're all dying.
This is now a true crime podcast where we investigate why this man got murdered.
No, that was crazy.
Fuck. No.
Imagine saying that.
Girl,
imagine saying that.
No.
And he would say all of these like really horrible things to her. She'd say, can we get help with the cleaner? Can we get help with childcare? He'd be like, no, you can do this. And he then wouldn't help her ever. And I'm sorry, that's a fucking scam. And that's my biggest fear. First is marriage, and then is someone scamming me and truly scamming me into having a baby.
I think, we're obviously at the age where like I'm seeing a lot of friends get married and have children, and I am fascinated. I would say I consider myself personally very lucky because I have been allowed to third wheel the fuck out of many relationships. And a good like 90% of the men that my best friends have chosen are amazing, amazing, amazing guys that I love to be around, that are helpful, that, you have a move and they bring their truck. That, I mean, I'm not going to talk about moves right now, Loretta. I know you're going through it. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Trigger warning, please.
Yeah, exactly. But like friends that like really, really help out. And to see these boyfriends become husbands, become fathers now, and see how they're supporting my friends through parenthood, not as in like they're helping take care of the kid. No, they are parents. They are fathers who are taking care, has been a beautiful experience because I get to see it, myself, and I get to hear it through my friends. So I know they exist, and I know it's an option. I also grew up with a very involved father, too involved, even, I would say, because like my dad, back in the day, I feel like mostly like moms went to like doctor's appointments and stuff like that. Like dads didn't show up. My dad would go to everything, to the point that people thought my parents were divorced, and he was like court mandated to be in places, and he was like, no.
He's an intentional man.
He's like, no, I actually like my kids. I want to be around them. So, in that sense, like I know they exist, and that gives me a little hope. However, I can't remember. I think I said 90%. That other 10%, I'm like, holy fucking hell. And it terrifies me. It terrifies me. And I feel like these men are being fed by so much, I don't even know if I should call it propaganda, but like so much propaganda around them that makes them think they're right to think these things, that makes them believe they're entitled to better spouses, or, better lifestyles, or like they're not supposed to do as much work at home. And it's insane, and it's terrifying. And I think for me, that's like, I think what you were saying about being like trapped or scammed into that is also one of my biggest fears, because you don't know until it's happening, right? Like, yes, there are red flags. Yes, there are things that you can see in a relationship, in a marriage. But like, there's so much that comes up with child rearing that you could have never expected. Maybe if you have a dog, I don't know. But it's insane to see how some of these men flip up and they're like, this is not my job and not my responsibility. And I think on top of it all, we're expected to be girlfriends. We're expected to be wives. We're expected to be mothers of children we carry and we birth or adopt, whatever. But you know what I mean? But to be the mother of an adult fucking man,
never.
Sign me the fuck out.
Never.
No. Never. Mm-mm. So I think, honestly, a lot of these men expect mothers that they happen to fuck. And I don't know. I think, honestly, be lonely. I'm sorry. Your gene pool is going away. Okay, bye. I'm not sorry. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I can't do it.
And I'm not here to shit on men's mental health either. Like,
no, of course not.
If you're a man and you're struggling, we love a king in therapy. We love an accurately therapized king. Don't be going to some enabler who's going to enable your bullshit.
Loretta, I'm going to quote you from 8 minutes ago. You had this issue with this, literally, you had this issue with this friend who said you were being selfish. That was fucking painful. And who said you never ask about my job. What did you say later? So now I intentionally ask people about their job. That was a blind spot. You were like, why do I have to ask you when I actively tell you about my stuff? I expect you to actively tell me about your stuff. Like it doesn't occur to you. Maybe you have to ask. It happened. You learned. Okay, we move on.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
But a lot of these men choose not to. They don't do the work. They think they're perfect as they are. And they don't have the skill set to create these emotional connections that are so important to build a fucking family and a fucking home.
And I think it just feels, honestly, like a one-sided relationship, a lot of these cases. And
totally.
I don't know how people are navigating them. And you're out here and you're in a marriage. Have you heard of those, like, you're a married single mother? That could never be me. As someone who was raised by a single mother, God for fucking bid.
No, I'd rather be divorced.
For real. But speaking of one-sided relationships, do you want to chat to me about some parasocial relationships?
Or are you asking about my husband? Thank you. Hello. My name is Annie Steinberg, and I have been married with Lionel Messi for close to a little bit over 20 years. No, let's talk about parasocial relationships, because they are, I think, something so interesting that we're living through, especially, in the age of social media, in the age of the internet. It's existed before, obviously. Again, all vibes, no research, but essentially what we mean by parasocial relationships are these one-sided relationships that people tend to have with either celebrities or, influencers, people on social media, where it's entirely one-sided because you see their lives, you're perfectly aware about what's happening in their lives, but they don't know you. So that's not to say that this couldn't be about, you know, like your coworker's neighbor that you one time creeped and you ended up creeping for the rest of your life once every week and you know everything about them and their children. But typically these things are applied more to kind of like celebrities and influencers. My personal parasocial relationship is that I understand that Lionel Messi is a married man. He has Antonella, but if Antonella ever needs a break, I'm here. If she ever a little tired girl, just give me a call, you know. Today I'm actually going to a soccer match where he'll be there. Last time I saw him was 2013 in Madrid for a Barcelona-Madrid game. I brought a sign that said, Messi, give me a child. He did not comply.
No, you did
so
not.
I am also suffering from the child loneliness epidemic, I suppose. I need to ask Stephen Bartlett what to do so I can pass down my gene pool, but specifically with Lionel Messi. No, but I'm really excited about this match. But that got us thinking about, you know, like these relationships and how it's, I don't want to say crazy. I feel bad, you know, people are lonely or overinvested. And we all have a celebrity that we love too much, you know, and like that will always be like, oh no, she's absolutely right. I like her. She's doing the right thing or he's doing the right thing. You know, if there's like ever like a little bit of like a spat on set or like rumors about like an album, you pick sides, you know, all of these things are parasocial relationships, right? But I do think there's like a specific type of parasocial relationship that rubs me the wrongest fucking way. And that is with children. So on especially TikTok, I would say, or like, I mean, obviously YouTube as well. Facebook, I know you're a Facebook girl, Loretta.
Slay.
Instagram, slay, Facebook girl. But there are these like family bloggers that will post children and people are like overly invested in these children's lives. And we're talking about either babies, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds. And these are not kids with like agency to decide that they want to be posted and shared about it that way. And there have been influencers that have removed their kids off the platforms. And then you have people in the comments being like, oh no, but I miss little Timmy. Like, I don't even know, like, did he manage to say his ABCs or is he like getting potty trained or whatever? And I'm like, why do you care? Like, these are not your kids. I know last year, like, also there was this horrible tragedy with an influencer where she lost a child. And the way in which people were, it was terrible. It was a pool accident, if I'm not wrong. The way that people were invested in giving opinions and also just like, you know, like saying where the parents went wrong and just, oh my God, it's just, it rubs me off just so wrong. Again, because like yes, I'm in love with Messi. Yes, I will Photoshop a funny photo of us making out for my stories. It's not even making out with tongue. It's just like a little peck. You know, like I'll do the thing mostly because I think it's funny and I am a huge fan. But to go from that stage to, for me, for example, have an opinion on like his kids' schooling. And I wonder how much they like feed into it because they need audiences, right? They need to give the people something to get attached to in these parasocial relationships. But also like how scary it can get.
I don't think I have a parasocial relationship with any celebrity because, you know, I would rather obsess about people in my life that I'm never going to have a chance with. That's where I want my energy to go.
Love it.
You know, I want to see the guy at De Uno and go, Daniel.
Oh, but I love me. I love me like a situational crush. Something that makes me get out of bed and go to the grocery store.
Yes.
Something that will make me hope to run into the right barista at Starbucks. Something that will make me go to work. Fuck, a work crush. Okay, anyways.
One person I would say that I do really like to follow is Nara Smith. Nara Aziza Smith, the one that's married to Lucky
You're
Smith.
joking.
Listen, I am a fan. On the rare occasion I go onto Instagram and I post a story, I went through a phase of like tagging her in like all my stories. Like once I went to a pottery class and I made a bowl, I said, Nara, my sister in Christ, I'll make the bowls if you make the pasta from scratch. She didn't reply. And I kind of felt like she was acting kind of shady when she didn't reply.
Dying.
I was like, dying. Oh, really? You're not going to respond? That's like, embarrassing.
I feel like this topic needs to change into tried wifeness all of a sudden because, like, what's your opinion on it then?
Okay, I'm going to give my quick fire opinion because, okay. Being a trad wife, I do not agree with it in any sense of the word. I'm sorry. I know I live in Colombia and I am a hardcore feminist, and I'm not one of those new age feminists either. I'm one of those people who are, as long as you know what all of your options are, if you still choose to stay home and have 10 children, cis, slay. Right? If you choose that you want to go out and you know what all your options are and you want to be a sex worker, cis, do it safely and consensually, but slay, right?
Get it.
I'm one of those people. But the issue that I have, honestly, is feeding the propaganda of, sis, you don't need to work. Just find yourself a man that works and he'll buy you a $37,000 US dollar AGA. The fuck?
Agreed.
And Nara Smith and Hannah Neiman, who's Ballerina Farms, who I like to partake in the creation of both of their social medias, they are not trad wives. Nara Smith literally just released an algae oil and garlic infused algae oil. Do you think she's selling that for free? Like, that's a job.
No. They have businesses.
They have businesses. Ballerina Farms, apparently her protein powder slays. So for me, those are not trad wives. Whereas I think some other people, and perhaps people in the comments, are pushing the narrative of stay home, raise them kids, get some chickens, that's all you need. Sis, get your ass to a job. Because you don't clearly know what all your options are. Protect your independence. And I think you can be an independent housewife. You definitely can be. But doing this thing about like, just don't even bother. Don't know whatsoever. Just rely on a man. Just think about them kids. Fuck them kids. No! Think about yourself first. Then you can think about them kids. And
do you think though that even if they are business owners and great business owners at that, because obviously they're very popular, that they do kind of like covertly push that message of trad wifeness, or do you think it's just been put onto them?
Honestly, I think they're like a pig in shit, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
That's such an English saying, like an English saying from England.
I literally have no idea what that means.
So it's like, imagine you're a gold digger. So imagine I'm a Casa Fortuna and I've just married a guy that's 70 years old who's a billionaire.
Okay.
And 6 months into marriage, he then dies and leaves me everything. I'm a pig in shit. Like, I'm so happy. Like, the way a pig is happy rolling around in shit.
Oh, in shit.
No, you making fun of my accent?
No, I thought the pigs were in ships, and I was like, where are they going to? Where are they being shipped off to?
No, like a pig in shit. Como un cerdo en hierba.
Yeah, living your best life. Okay, gotcha.
So I definitely think definitely the two of them are like that. They're pigs in shit. They're pigs in shit. And they definitely feed off of, oh, you think I'm a trad wife? I must keep pushing this trad wife propaganda. So you buy something from me. Where I think it's a bigger issue, because they are part of the problem, of course, I think it's just us as a society. Why are we unable to discern information? How are you unable to not see a video and go, this probably isn't reality? Do you get what I mean?
Media literacy, girl. It's gone. It's really gone. And I think, it used to happen to me a lot back in the day with like the beginnings of Instagram, when I would have conversations about Instagram with my friends and about like, influencers and stuff like that. And they'd be surprised to hear how much is photoshopped, edited, altered, how the colors are changed, and I was just like, I thought, how do you not know this? But a lot of people actually don't. And they think that 3 minutes of like window into a person's life that they see is the truth, but nothing but the truth, or whatever that saying is, truth, the truth, and nothing but the truth, or something. So, but I do think a lot of like media literacy is missing, with a combination of, I do think, engaño. Like there is a little bit of deceit involved in all of this, I do think. But going back real quick to the parasocialness of it all, so with Nara, like, do you just want to do what she's doing? Do you care about what she's up to? Like, where do you? So with Nara, listen, I'm going to follow a video. This is how you know I'm not on Instagram. You don't follow videos, you watch them. I'm going to watch a video. I'm going to watch a video. I'm going to go, ooh, that's a nice outfit. But let me tell you something. I do not care at all about what she's doing with her kids, because that's the point that I wanted to make. Is that people comment on her before, especially when she supposed the older two, my apologies, Rumble Honey Smith and Slim Easy Smith, when she used to post them a lot. So are those the names?
Yeah. Government name on their birth certificate, everything.
Sounds
and
good.
then,
Sounds good. Sure.
And then, Slim Easy, and people used to comment and go, she doesn't feed these children. What? Literally, that was like a number one comment. Your children don't eat. Your children are starving. I said,
right.
You don't know this person. And so I think I have that boundary because I'm like, I don't know what your kids be eating. Shit. And second of all, no celebrity, and I'm sorry, this might be a hot take. You're never going to see me buying this algae oil from Nara Smith ever. The fuck do I need algae oil? What's wrong with olive? What's wrong with plain old olive?
Okay, so it's for cooking.
It's for cooking because it's infused with garlic. And she's like, I spent all this time I said, bitch, I'm not going to buy that in a million years. And I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But why would I not just use, you know,
De
olive oil,
Uno.
which is the best? Or thank you. Even, okay, listen, the De Uno olive oil, that's good for maybe for frying an onion.
Sorry, I went cheap and hard.
Like, you gotta go Caruja and get the olive oil in a glass bottle. The De Uno stuff comes in a plastic bottle. No.
It's a little sketchy. I'm sorry.
And whereas, like, I have heard that Ballerina Farms' protein powder is fantastic. Like, people say, did you know how protein powder is, like, really chalky and disgusting and makes you wish you were dead? Like, you're already at the gym.
Thank God. I rarely had to consume that product, but yes.
But, like, you know when you're at the gym and you already wish that you weren't alive and then you have to drink, like, literal chalk? Yeah. I've heard Ballerina Farms one is amazing. Fantastic.
That's good.
And
that kind of happened to me with Marcela Garcia, who is a previous queen of the carnival. We're actually going to the carnival in a couple of weeks, Loretta. I'm so excited for that. And I have a I forgot. Yeah, that's a big one too. I have a parasocial relationship with Marcela Garcia. It's a long story. I'll tell it another day. We got confused for one another one time. I am maybe 30 centimeters taller than her, maybe 20. You know what I mean? She was blonde. I was a brunette. We do not look alike at all. And 3 or 4 people in a row thought that I was her. And I was like, you know what? Sure. But, you know, big, longer story for another day. And it's about manifestation. So we'll talk about that some other time. However, she came out with this product called the Hair Generation, which was like a hair oil. Same thing, you know, like I really, really wanted to try it. But it took me maybe like, I want to say like 6 months of seeing like people's testimonials and stuff, including her own, because she used to suffer from alopecia and she's like really healed her scalp with it. And it you know, from the moment the product came out, I was like, yes, I want it. However, I did manage to like hold off and be like, okay, let's see how this is going. And the moment that I saw that like great reviews were coming in, honestly, not even 6 months. It was like 10 months because they just turned a year old, which I don't know if I should know that her business just turned a year old. And I've had them for 2 months.
Super
but
fan.
I love my hair oil. Yeah, I am a super fan. And if I ran into her in Barranquilla, I will tell her again. But yeah, honestly, I think some parasocial relationships can be cute and can be sweet. The thing is just like not going a little bit overboard, not thinking they're like right about everything. And kind of like not forgetting they're human at the end of the day. Everybody that's out there, for the most part, let's hope, is still human. Because, I don't know, there's like AI influencers and shit popping up. But I'm not going to talk about that because it makes me go crazy. The ones that are human will fuck up the same way that your friends fuck up, the same way that your relationships, romantic relationships fuck up, the same way that your family fucks up. And it's impossible to have them this idealized. Like, it's just not healthy, except for my husband, Lionel Messi. So I am a little jittery, of course, because like we might get married tonight. I don't know how fast he can do it. I don't know if he's allowed to have several marriage licenses in different countries. I have to look into that. However, very, very excited for our wedding. I will keep you posted on that. But can you call me later?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know how the wedding plans go.
Also, if Messi doesn't score a single fucking goal in Medellin, I will not be here for episode 3. So we're about to find out.
We will cut that bit out of the podcast, lest Messi take out a restraining order on you.
Hello? No, pero llámame ya.